That's right back, Charlie. Definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on.
There's always just that active red flag defenders, I think, it's like. There's always just that active red flag defenders, I think, it's like. There's always just that active red flag defenders, I think, it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on.
Thank you very much for that, Ian Wright. Are we live? Of course we're live. People deluded, I'm back again. Whether you're on Twitch or YouTube, appreciative of you lot tuned in. As usual, wherever you are in this world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button. If you're on Twitch, head over to YouTube and smash the like button. Make sure you're following on Kick, on Twitch, and on YouTube, Deluded Gooner, for all of that stuff. Information's in the description. Now, we are live. I know I premiere a lot of videos, but we are actually live. And the transfer market's alive and kicking, people. I'm sure you've seen the DECLAN Rice news, whether a second bid's been placed or rejected. You know, there's the Lavia stuff, the Timber stuff. I'm pretty sure I've covered the bulk of this in my videos. Appreciative to anyone who's watched any of my others. Again, any comments, any questions, any talking points, please feel no sort of way about providing them. Why I like to speak about Arsenal with you lot, it's you lot that make the platform, people. Appreciative to you lot tuned in, and big up the YouTube members, man. Done that long time, 2-3. Real G, man, as our UK. We are active this window. Hope it's not empty smoke. My brother, I hear you. It's lovely, you know, DECLAN Rice. We're trying to put down the money. You know, we're trying to do this thing for Lavia. We're trying to get Timber. You know, Havertz, it is what it is. Arteta, the mad scientist, cool. I know you got something for us, you know. I know this Havertz thing is going to bang. It's looking a bit booky. It's looking a bit shaky, but Arteta, talent ID. You know, Arteta, I think one of his flaws is he thinks he can repair everyone that appears a bit of a damaged player, but you got something for us. I do wonder, though, have we showed our hand? And what I mean by that is, obviously, nobody knows the exact finances Arsenal are operating with, but we attempted to spend, obviously, you know, there's one thing to be said of bidding for players that you're told are not for sale, but 75 million offer for Caicedo in January. You fast forward to the summer where we are now, trying to get this Rice thing done for 100 odd million. You know, Lavia is going to cost 50 million as a minimum. Obviously, Timber is not going to cost 30 million. He's going to cost close to 50. So have we shown we got the bag? And I wonder what that means in terms of incomings and outgoings, man. Is Lavia better than Lokonga? Respect him, please. Of course he is. Big up Lokonga. Hope you know, I would love for Lokonga to actually look like the next Yaya Toure, or look like a player, if I'm honest with you, because it would mean another option for us. There's rumours he's going to Burnley on loan. Company was the man that opened his mouth and said he reminds him of Yaya Toure. Go and show us Yaya Toure stuff, you know, because it's a big season for Lokonga. Lokonga's been media at Crystal Palace, been media at Arsenal. If he goes over to Burnley, starts to play well, you might go to the Euros with Belgium. We might be in a stronger place to sell you elsewhere if you show that you're good but not quite good enough, really, or we have a better player. Shout out yourself, Rory. Bless DG and Arsenal fans. I think the 4 in the poll is good business, but I think we still need a little more, maybe January/summer, Tony. I hear you, and I might sound a bit spoiled, but, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Havertz, and I'm not, it's like some Arsenal fans going crazy about the prospect of signing him. Is it someone I would have had on our list? No. Really, my faith is, you know, not blind faith in anybody, but if Arteta wants him, he must have a plan. I don't see how Havertz immediately improves Arsenal. Obviously, quality player on his day, a lot, you know, needs to stay on side, needs to become more clinical, but he does have experience. He is a Champions League winner. You know, he has got a good technical level. I can see the angle, but I don't see. Right now, if we name Arsenal's strongest 11, does he play ahead of Odegaard, the captain? Does he really play in that 8 role ahead of Xhaka on paper or anywhere else? Does he play on the right ahead of Saka? Because he does tend to pull to the right-hand side. Does he play as a false 9, you know, ahead of Jesus or whatever, really. So it's a good compliment of the squad. Clearly, Declan Rice is a level raiser. He's not a messiah, you know, he can't do it alone, but clearly that's a level raiser, sorry. Timber, I'm cool with that because obviously that's competition for Benjamin White at right back. That's another option at centre half. You've got Tomiyasu, Timber, and Benjamin White, who can all play fullback, all play central defense, all play in the back three. Obviously, there's rumours Tierney is now going to stay, so maybe Tierney might get more game time because we don't have to overcompensate with Zinchenko and what credit to him gives to the team. And obviously, we have stronger options, really. Midfield needs to be addressed, man. Big up yourself, my guy in the circle, because you're always here. And don't think I don't see you commenting on the premieres. I appreciate your support. I'm a very old man. Age is nothing but a number. In this sense, I don't know for them Buki dons. And I agree, DJ is smart, consistent, balanced, and focused. I'm a big fan. I appreciate that. But for every comment like that, you get you really are deluded. If I had £1 for every positive or negative comment, wait, you think we'll be doing this bidding war for Declan Rice? I'll just finance it myself. 2 quality options in each position. Yeah, and for me, if you have Tierney, and again, big up Zinchenko, what he gives to the squad, but just focusing on Tierney. If you've got Tierney, if you've got Gabriel, if you've got Saliba, if you've got Benjamin White and you've got Timber. Now, we're not City and we're very different. But you look at Pep Guardiola, he keeps saying a big improvement of this season is we actually have defenders, like strong defenders in Jules and all of that stuff. When you look at how Rodri plays, how Stone plays, you know, Kyle Walker over there, Diaz, and any other name I've missed out, that's the kind of thing we need to improve at, because I do think Arsenal have improved defensively. But that's only in comparison to what we used to be a few years ago, which isn't good enough. I think we need to go up another level. And when you look at the past 2 years, for as much as I think we've improved our outlook defensively, you know, there's actually not that much difference in terms of the clean sheets in the season that's just gone and the year before that, really. In goals, I think we got 60 odd one year, we've got 80 odd this year. So there's an improvement in that, really. So I'm here for it. DG, don't you think your theory of Odegaard being groomed for the left 8 might happen with Havertz signing, as Havertz is more at home in the 10 and Martin could dictate more at the left? I mean, I'm here for it. You, Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira, groom yourselves to be playing in that 8 role, multifunctional players who can do one role to an amazing standard and go elsewhere. I've been saying it. While I like Odegaard, you know, in the final third, while I like his link-up play with Saka and the rest of them, I evidently like the fact that he's got 15 league goals. I think he can still do that, but I think you kind of have to rob Odegaard of his play in the final third to give us greater impetus. And listen, he'll have to do a lot to be mentioned in the same vein as Santi Cazorla, but I really do think Odegaard can do that sort of role for us, if I'm really with you lot. My guy Tierney is not going anywhere. I mean, we have to, anything can happen. I think it would be silly to let Tierney go. We're making more holes in our squad. Yes, you'd have Zinchenko who can play there. Yes, you obviously have Tomiyasu. The one asterisk against Tomiyasu is, unfortunately, you can't bet on his fitness. Quality player, useful member of the squad, but you can't bet on his fitness. And just by looking at City, if that's what us and any other team wants to aspire to do, the players barely get injured. Obviously, injuries happen, but fitness, that's actually the thing I like the most about Declan Rice. He's played 60 odd times already this season. He's made over 200 appearances for West Ham and he's barely injured. The same goes for Bukayo Saka, which big up Saka for getting a hat-trick for England yesterday. Again, you want to see him kind of pull out of them fixtures there with an injury and whatnot. With Timber coming, it makes sense to keep Tierney so you can flip the dynamics, meaning he doesn't have to invert anymore, which is true. I'm on the fence with it. I think if Arteta's demanding you to rework your game and all of that jazz, you have to do it. And I think Tierney's giving it a good shot. I think there's been games it's worked, but in the same way Zinchenko can improve defensively, he's never going to be a great 1v1 defender because that's not him. He's a central midfielder that was converted over them sides. Tierney is an organic, old school fullback. Overlap, cross the ball, these sort of things. And at one, you know, you're never going to get the best Tierney trying to make him like that. In the same way, if you kind of rely on Zinchenko a bit too much defensively, you're not going to get things. But obviously, these players have to improve. But with the Timbers and all of these guys, to go with the City conversation, and, you know, if we say Declan Rice is our Rodri, that should be able to hide the likes of Jorginho, the deficiencies of Zinchenko defensively to a certain point. Havertz is a brilliant squad player. He's an Arsenal-type player. I see the vision from Arteta. I hope it works. But at the end of the day, it's got to work, you know. It's got to work. The Havertz thing, it's got to work. Declan Rice, you can imagine, if it don't bang, we spent 100 odd million assuming it happens, there's issues. But I would say most people would just shut up about Declan Rice. Havertz is the one that is kind of not being given a chance before the man's kicked a ball for the football club, which is unfair. It has to work. You know, Arteta's got signings wrong. as much as I like his talent ID and, you know, how he's improved existing players in this squad already. You know, the Martinelli's gone from strength to strength. Saka the same. Obviously, I like the talent ID of bringing in Jesus, Zinchenko, Ramsdale, who, you know, not many people were convinced on. The same goes for Benjamin White at the time. The same actually goes for Martin Odegaard, really, you know, off the back of that loan spell. So Arteta isn't afraid to make difficult decisions, really and truly. And he's shown that with some players that have even played on a regular basis. But while his success to failure signings ratio is a lot better, bro, we still got to talk about Tavares and Lokonga and Cedric and Willian. You know, again, we're going to make poor signings again and again. And that goes for every team, really. It happens. You know, it's like if you was going to a wealth manager to invest your, I don't know, your pension or whatever, and you went to the bank and the wealth manager's having a meeting with you and he's told you he's never made a mistake, he's never made a loss. Are you going to believe that? Really and truly. I'm good, Kate, man. I hope you're doing better. I personally prefer Savic or Maddison over Havertz, much cheaper option. I think we've been priced out of Caicedo. They're saying over 100 million or 100 million odd. Shout out yourself, American Gunner. You should have got my email. If not, I'll send it again. I did do that last night, although I basically fell asleep at my desk, so I'll get on that. Hi, I really hope you sign Lavia and Havertz, but I have another one player that I want for Arsenal, I think you're saying. Colomani would be decent. He's a bit raw, and the thing is with these strikers now, because there's a bit of a shortage of widespread quality strikers, you're overpaying for them, really. There's no better sports analyst on YouTube but DG. Big praise, man. Big praise. I appreciate that. I can't lie. I think Mikel should try tap up Zubamendi instead of Lavia because they're from the same town, and I believe he can be our main six. Also, price-wise, he would cost the same, if not less than Lavia. He's got a release clause in it, really and truly, Zubamendi. But it appears, based on what you read, that Barcelona are even struggling. We've got to remember the market's just open. There's a lot of twists and turns, but seems that he's happy at his hometown club in Sociedad, wants to play Champions League football with them. Also, you know, bringing back the Euros the debate at the end of next season. Maybe stability is what you need, because if you go to Barca, you go to Arsenal, and it doesn't work out, there could be an issue, and he probably moves a year after that. But I would love Zubamendi, and one thing Zubamendi has over Lavia, as you just said, is a release clause, really and truly. I stand by it. If Partey never had a release clause, we don't sign Thomas, really and truly, if you remember that summer of Aouar and Partey. For Lavia, a bit like Declan Rice, it's early doors and we don't know what's said, but, you know, if our second bid has been rejected for Declan Rice, at some point you're probably relying on Declan Rice to put some sort of internal pressure on the West Ham owners and chairmen and things, and almost not damage relationships with the fans, but make it a bit messy. You're kind of relying on the player, but hopefully we get over that. Lavia has shown more playing in the Prem than Lokonga. Lokonga's thing is, like, he's just a bit of a weird one, really. I don't think Lokonga asserts himself enough. I don't like to use the word soft, but he does appear a bit of a softer character, and I think he's misunderstood. I think he's decent technically, but the game passes him, and I don't think he's ever, at Palace or at Arsenal, not that he's had many opportunities, not grabbed the shirt, really. And he does do a lot of chatting. You know, we saw it in the All or Nothing. We see it in all the interviews. Of course, we're live. Shout out Saka for the hat-trick. Edu cooking up a madness on the barbecue. I hope so, you know. The quicker we get some players in, you know, if we, in an ideal world, based on what we see, you know, Declan Rice, Timber, Havertz, Lavia, you get them in early. We probably need to start, maybe Arteta wants a few more, but we probably have to start focusing on outgoings. I'm no accountant. I barely know football. I'm just a football fan. But looking at it logically, Saka's got the big boy contract. Martinelli's got the big boy contract. Saliba's got the big boy contract. Nelson improved deal. Last year, Eddie Nketiah a new deal. And Jesus and Zinchenko probably didn't come on no little man wages. You've obviously got 140 grand a week going out on Pepe on paper. Cedric, we've heard anything from 70 to 100 odd grand. You know, so at some point, we're going to have to deal with that because, again, I don't really care what people get paid, but the resources ain't really making sense, really. And that's also considering Odegaard, Benjamin White, and a couple of others. There's rumours of new deals in that regards. I'm excited for Timber, but I'm more excited for, you know, these players signing for the football club. As much as I'm happy to talk about it with you lot, until people are holding shirts and scarves saying I used to love Thierry Henry when I grew up, anything can happen, innit? With Timber, you got to pay the asking price. I would love for Ajax to accept 30 million, but we have to be smoking something really special from one of them coffee shops, really. And he's been linked with United. He's been linked with a lot of Premier League teams and teams across Europe. If you're Ajax, a bit like West Ham or Brighton with Caicedo or Southampton with Lavia, like if we was in the same spot, really, you want a bidding war, you want bare teams bidding because it drives up the price, really. Auction settings, sell to the highest bidder. For Lavia, you're hoping he forces the boat out because he's playing in the Championship and things like that. We all know that one there is probably going to be a bit techie because Manchester City have a buyback clause active from next season. If Lavia probably is going to be sold this window, they've probably got a healthy sell-on clause. And I think where you look at Caicedo, been at Brighton for a couple of years, where you look at obviously Lavia, been at Southampton for a season, it pays to do your due diligence. You play these guys, they perform. They're going for big boy P's. DG, what do you reckon will happen with Balogun? I would love for Balogun to get opportunity, you know, because while I like Havertz, well, I like the idea of what Havertz could do, the positives. I like that Trossard can play as a false nine. The same said for Martinelli. I'm a fan with Jesus. I do think one of Eddie and Nketiah and Balogun, or maybe both, need to be in the squad because I know Balogun can play out wide, forcing it. He's an out-and-out striker. Obviously, Arteta demands a lot from his striker, and as dumb as it sounds, goals aren't necessarily the most important thing, or maybe wouldn't have signed Jesus, but he is a Highland boy, he is young, he is an out-and-out striker. Like, I do think no matter how much the game's about all this multifunctional stuff, some players need to be able to do their jobs, and it'd be disappointing for him to not really get a real sniff of it, really, and a big chance at the club, really, being a Highland boy. My guess is he probably leaves, you know. I'm not saying Eddie Nketiah is happy to sit on the bench, but he appears happy with the role he's got in it, without knowing him or having a conversation. Balogun, I don't think it's as deep as he's saying play me or whatever. I just think the man wants clarity over his future. I think he is prepared to have a challenge at breaking through at Arsenal. I think he's undoubtedly is going to be a lot more confident, obviously scoring 20-odd league goals, but it comes down to what the gaffer is telling you, at least early in the season. We're going to be in the Champs, we're going to be in the Prem. How much opportunities, real minutes are there going to be? Maybe towards the end of this year, start of next year, that's where rotation, the games coming in, that starts to play a part, really and truly. But if I'm Balogun, you got to look at it without romance. Of course, football is about romance. You know, Highland boy, seeing Smith Rowe, Saka, a couple young players doing their thing, Nelson, he should believe he could do that, but he's got to look at it without emotion. You know, what can I do to be a dramatically better player 12 months from now, in the same vein of going to Reims on loan last year? And if that's staying at Arsenal, cool. Where Arsenal are concerned, though, the only reason I'm on selling Balogun is if he makes it clear I'm not signing a new deal, contracted until 2025, and he wants to keep it moving. And that money that you get from Balogun, who's a bit of a hot property sort of thing at the moment, is reinvested. Thoughts on Timber? Lovely player, can play right back, play as a centre half, you know, Dutch guy, good technical level, very adventurous when going forward. But it sounds dumb, but he kind of knows what he can and can't do, really and truly. Like, he doesn't try and do things that are out of his pay grade, really. And obviously he's 22, he's captained Ajax a couple times, he fits into what we're doing, he can play in the back three. It gives us a lot more strength, really. You know, why I would like, as much as I'm happy to have Timber who can play right back and centre half, I would like Timber and an out-and-out centre half, or an out-and-out centre half and Timber who can play right back. So you have, like in a circle said, two of quality in every position, but it starts making stuff a lot more attractive for Arsenal. You know, you saw towards the end of the season, Benjamin White and many a player look spent. Saliba, you know, while I don't agree with it just being as simple as Saliba got injured, so we fell off a cliff defensively, which is true, I think it highlighted our frailties. So Timber could fight for a spot, he can come in if need be. And obviously, if you can't raise the level of this football club on the pitch, make sure it don't drop. I think Holding evidently has flaws, and them flaws cost us, but I don't think he was as bad as a lot of people, including myself, expected. I think in a lot of these games that we had to play Holding, he's not the reason we lost necessarily. Even against City, he probably was a lot better than a lot of people, even though Haaland dealt with him, really and truly, and we should have done enough to win these games, but we drop off a cliff. You know, at this moment in time, Xhaka, Partey, couple of players are not there. We're in trouble, really and truly. Even at times, as good as Eddie was with Jesus, and we need to have a competitive squad. Thought Gurhey would have been a good signing, but Mikel prefers versatility. Smash the like button if you're on YouTube. Don't forget that. I can't, and big up Creeper for that. I can't see us spending 50 million on Gurhey to go with what is probably going to be about 45-50 million, assuming we get the Timber deal done. That's 100-odd million quid. Declan Rice is going to take that to 200-odd million quid. You know, Lavia takes that to about 250. I think the 200 region is probably as far as it kind of gets for Arsenal, maybe just a bit beyond that. I'd love to get all these players. I wish it was like FIFA. Might we see Arteta player back free? We need to change tactics. I think with Arteta getting better players, you'll see a lot more flexibility in terms of the system, the formation, and maybe if not, the system will be intact, but there'll be cute and clever little things. I can't lie, Ardigala is sick. He scored his goal for Turkey the other day. I don't think he's ready physically, but he's someone I think is going to have a great future in the game, and is a golden boy in Turkish football. And if you're Turkish, that's the man you need to get behind. Why? Timber will help with defense. I hope the teeny talk has fell off. Same. And also as well, you know, he's fairly quick, so we can play that high line and be a bit adventurous. And as much as, you know, people are kind of talking about Timber as sort of a squad option, come and take someone's place. You're 22, you've been playing at Ajax, you're going to move to Premier, assuming you sign for us. Go and take Saliba's place. Go and take Benjamin White's place. You know, we're not here to make friends. As much as I like the family aspect, we're not here to make friends. We're here to win stuff. Go and take someone's place. I don't want a single player happy to sit on the bench. But going back to Balogun, obviously in terms of resale, you know, if Balogun can bring in X amount, Austin Trusty brings in X amount. If you can get rid of the Pepes, the Cedrics, the Tavares, the Lokongas, you know, maybe Partey and or Xhaka, which I wish we could keep both of them, it starts to claw back some of these resources. This is why it is imperative. While I want to win trophies, I would love to win the Prem, the Champs, everything, like every fan. We need to keep qualifying for the Champions League, or we're going to find ourselves, God forbid, if we don't get in the Champions League next year, we're going to find ourselves what we were in a couple of years ago. Wasn't it Josh Kroenke who said something along the lines of, we've got a Champions League squad on the Europa budget? And again, you're seeing big boy players come in. Lavia is going to come in for decent money. And I'm talking about what he gets paid. Rice, the same. The boys at the club have signed new deals. On paper, we're still paying Xhakas. We're still paying Pepes. We're still paying a lot of players. And again, we've got to remember, it's only the 20th of June. So a lot of things are happening. DG, what do you think about bidding 100 million for Kimmich instead of Rice? I mean, I'd love Kimmich, but dream chasing. Why aren't the Saudi man raiding our clubs? I mean, it looks like they're going to get Partey. From Fresneda to Timber is crazy. I like how we're moving in the market if we get him. I'd like Fresneda, but maybe there's just simply not money to stretch for everything. You can't get them all in it. Really and truly. Like, I really wanted Caicedo, but it's not going to happen. I've been saying I think he goes Chelsea. If you bring me a Lavia, bring me a Declan Rice, address all the other areas, it's fine. With me, though, it's a bit weird. And again, Arteta's just going to have to show me something. But are we really, like, obviously we'll be a lot stronger, but are we really that much better if, assuming it all happens, we get Havertz, we get Lavia, we get Rice, we get Timber? Are we really stronger fighting for the Premier League? I think so, but like, are we really gone up another level in our pursuit of catching City or getting to the latter stages of the Champions League? I believe yes. I also think it's probably no as well. Really, if we get Timber, Rice, Lavia, we'll strengthen, including our bench, and that's a bulletproof. That's a good byproduct, you know. Players that play on a regular basis, if their spots in the starting 11 get robbed, then we've got a stronger bench. Look at City. You know, there's always somebody that misses out, really. There's time, you know, if you look at City for the last couple of years, there's always, you know, Amares will be out the team, a Bernardo, a Foden, etc., Laporte. And then there's always half of these names. There's always times where you watch City where one of them is really playing out their skin because they know you mess about, you're not playing. Simple as that. I do go to the Emirates, man, and I would love to be back as soon as possible. I would love to take Gundogan, who we're still linked with, but I personally think we're third choice. I personally think where Gundogan's concerned, he probably wants to go to Spain, learn under Xavi, play for a big club like Barcelona, live in the lovely city of Barcelona, try a new experience, having been at City for 7-8 odd years. And then I think the next priority is probably to stay at City. Apparently Barcelona, got to remember, he's 30 odd years of age or just beyond that. Barcelona are providing you with what I've just said, plus a 3-year contract. Allegedly, Manchester City's offer is 1 year plus the option of another year. Not really that much security there. And then I think it's an Arsenal thing where even though we're doing good things, we're developing well, if it takes 2 to 3 years for this, whatever Arteta is trying to do to really take shape and us to be the envy of the world, that is great if you're Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, assuming we sign Timber, 24-year-old Declan Rice, all of these sort of guys. But how old is Gundogan? You know, in terms of major honours, what is the best option? Probably staying at City, which that's another debate in itself because City probably are going to sign some players. And at times, you know, you probably should stay because you're of the age now where any trophy can get the best. But also there's no time like leaving on the top, at the top of your game, really, which being a treble winner, 3-peat, you would have done. And you don't know what City are going to be doing next year. Obviously, Barcelona at least won La Liga. Arsenal, for as good as we did, what did we win last year? Like, we didn't win nothing. Like, there's nothing, you know, in 10 years, we're not going to necessarily remember last season, unfortunately. It's going to be a long summer, but at least I get to share it with you lot. I want to see all the players in Arsenal shirt. Till then, I won't bother reading all the speculations. I can't begrudge you. You know, protect your chest, protect your heart. That's a great way. I just think Lokonga isn't played where he needs to be played. I still don't rate him, though. I do think he's a decent player, but he said he prefers to play as an 8. I'm sorry, but you can't, at this moment in time, from what I've seen, you're not at Arsenal 8. You know the players I've seen play for this football club in the central midfield of our park. Myth. You probably could play as a 6. Maybe because you're a bit physical, really. I probably sound like them pundits. But You're not mature enough. You're not strong enough in the duels. You look a bit soft in terms of mentality. I think he plays. I think a lot of Lokonga stuff is psychological, I believe, because he plays it safe. You can see that, you can see certain passes, but he doesn't do it. And I think his positioning isn't good enough. He goes walkabout, really. I look back to Man United last season when we lost at Old Trafford. You know, I'm not just blaming him, because, you know, we didn't do what we needed to do in the summer transfer market, and we walked in midfield without a couple of key players. But if you remember, he got bullied in there. He was bullying himself. He's a bit of a passenger, really, and you've got to be proactive, really, especially if you're playing in the middle of the park. And I think he's got the tools to be a decent player, but, you know, it's how you use the tools, really. Why do you think Arsenal plays these bids that they know are going to get rejected? Honestly, I don't know. What I would say is typically bids are going to be rejected and you're going to have to get over the line. I don't know why we bidded 30 odd million quid for Timber, because that was never going to be enough. I do wonder what else Arsenal have at their sleeve, because I know all the journalists are everyone's an expert now. We've wanted Timber for weeks, blah, blah, blah. But until I personally saw that David Ornstein article, I never saw Timber linked to Arsenal. So it shows that we might be working a bit discreetly and keeping things under wraps. But who knows, really? It is frustrating. You would like to see, in an ideal world, we just bid a competitive offer and keep it moving. But what I would say is, you know, you've got to be sensible, really and truly. And that's my thing. Have we showed our hand, really? Because if you get Timber down the line, my guess is, in an ideal world, 35 million, but it's around 40 rising to 50. Declan is going to take 100, really, as you lot can see. Lavia is going to take around 50 odd million quid as a minimum. So have we showed our hand to any other potential targets? I don't know. Obviously, a lot of this can be offset with outgoings, really and truly, man. So yeah, big up you lot. Keep your talking points coming. We'll get into the articles and all of that in a second, people. 62 likes, over 200 of you on YouTube. What's going on there? And as usual, shout out to you lot on Twitch. What else have we got? Really enjoy speaking with you lot. Exactly. It's the game of negotiations. Otherwise, you get robbed. You're fully right. A year loan at Burnley with company as his manager can be beneficial for both him and Arsenal. Amen. But he's going to have to show it now. You know, if I don't know Lokonga, but if you don't believe in yourself, how is all these millions of Arsenal fans in the world going to believe in you? How is Arteta going to believe in you? Because, while, you know, I love the family aspect, I love the Disneyland Channel stuff, but we're here to win stuff. Get with it now, or it's a myth, really. We're getting a more competitive side. Like, you need to get with it now, or you're not going to be in the team. You know, if the currents are too strong for you, you need to tell Arteta that you need a couple armbands, because only the skilled swimmers are going to survive this, really. You know, Saka does not play because he's a nice guy. Martinelli because he's a nice guy. Saliba because he's a nice guy. It's because you lot are doing the business, really. It is the same old news cycles, really. You always lowball on things to get the talks going, though. I can't quote how much the price kitty is, but it has to be more than 200 mil, but sales need to happen. I think we should throw in the 10 million for Rice and get it done with. The biggest threat would come from United. When they get things sorted, they'll come in for him. He loves them. I don't know if he loves them, but yeah, I really hope Partey isn't for sale this season. The season is long with 4 trophies up for grabs. I think fans fail to understand a lot of the time that it is a squad game. City bid 25 million for Kovacic. Why are we the only ones always getting scammed? Every transfer story is leaked. To be fair, the Kovacic stuff has been there. Nice guys, unfortunately, in life, finished last. Big up DG. We should know by now you can't lowball for top talent. It's supply and demand. Sometimes we look like we're doing some PR, not serious about going up to the next level. I must admit, at times it does feel like we've been bidding for players historically that, you know we're not going to get, like Douglas Luiz. You knew you weren't going to get him. Aston Villa telling you on the last couple of days of the window, you're not getting him. Brighton telling you in January, you're not getting Caicedo. Rafinha when we was bidding for him. Chelsea were in the Champions League. Barcelona was the club he had his heart set on. So I'm not really sure, man. But you have to get with the market. Everyone knows the Premier League has money. Everybody knows Arsenal need to make a statement. Everyone knows, obviously, the world will keep going. But if Arsenal don't get Declan Rice after all this waffling and all these bids and stuff, it's not a good look. I just hope there's backup options, really. Next season, I'd like to see Arsenal have a couple of good cup runs. Amen. Amen, my guy. Negotiation tactic. Apparently, West Ham have reduced the money from 120 to 100 million. What I would say, what the papers and the journalists and the tabloids are saying and what's actually happening in the footballing world are two very different things. You know, you hear Chelsea bidded for Caicedo weeks ago. Last week, we found out that Chelsea bidded. You know, apparently this second Declan Rice bid, if you listen to certain people, it was placed a long time ago. Now the media has clearly been briefed by someone by Arsenal or someone by West Ham that this has happened, really. You look back in January, all the talk of Mudryk going to Arsenal, clearly in hindsight, it was never as close as it was. Cody Gakpo to United. Where did both of them players end up? This is why I always say what's being seen as going to be done and what actually is going to be done are two very different things. If we sell Xhaka and Partey and get Rice and Lavia, it's a downgrade in my opinion. We need to add, not replace. Very excited about the expected signings, but gutting out midfield won't improve us. Frustrating. We probably made that bid days ago. Ornstein just got the news. So there you have it, man. Listen, as long as I always say, Arsenal, bid for as many players as you want, bid for you want. But please, when September comes and the deadline's there, I'm speaking for purely myself now. Can I just see at least as a minimum midfield address and stronger defensive options until we improve our outlook defensively and just revamp our midfield in terms of options and all these things? We're not going to go to where we need to go. I'm calm with Rice. Think we'll get it done. My thing is, what did the groundwork actually entail for Rice? Because it's almost like they started prepping for this the last week. Every club, you know, some signings and some players are market opportunities that probably become available today in it. But the bulk of these signings that people are going to do, they've been talking indirectly or directly for weeks and months, etc. Do you know how many offers have probably do you know how many players probably knew the club they were going to move to in the last half of last year versus the summer? Media is always behind. It was the same with the first bid. There you have it. Listen, DG, let's see what Arsenal's hierarchy negotiators start to fluff up for us this transfer window. I think the transfer window is so complex. We're just getting the bits. Just look at Lavia and Timber deals out of nowhere. We need to quit playing with our food and get Rice over the line this week. It would be nice. It would be nice, man. Think they're naive with what they think, speaking to the wrong middleman. Better off asking the club directly if he's available. That's true. But what I would say with the media, everybody's a genius. Everybody knows everything. Everybody's mums, dads, dentist, dog walker, you know, goes to the same gym as Declan Rice's brother, and he said he's going to move. Everyone's in the know. Everyone's got sources. For all we know, Rice is done. This is why I just accept what's at my... I only look as far as my eyes can see people. Right now, Declan Rice ain't signed for the club. Once you're holding shirts and stuff, it's another thing. So let's hope we get it down, man. DG, like you said, there's a cap on this midfield. I don't mind Partey staying for next year, but both him and Xhaka cannot be starting week in, week out. Amen. Big up South London's finest. DG, do you think the club are somewhat fed up of Partey's injury record, especially when it comes to crunch time in the season? Arteta has told Xhaka and Partey we're looking to upgrade and not having it. Potentially, you know, Arsenal might say, do you know what? He's contracted until 2025. He's on big money. He's 30 now. Maybe it's a chance to recoup some stuff. I think as much as Partey would follow Tierney and Tomiyasu, and that I loved having these lot in the squad, you can't bet on their fitness. You're never quite confident. But to be fair to Partey, he played in 33 of the 38 Premier League games, probably the best he's done. That's the only mark I can put against Partey's name for Arsenal Football Club. So fit in the mic. And also I would say for a lot of the season, Partey is quality, but there's literally a handful of games where he's really looking like that Atletico Madrid Partey. And I don't think we see that Thomas Partey enough, really and truly, if I'm completely honest. I still think Caicedo is a possibility. Brighton want a bidding war. Maybe Arsenal will pull out of Havertz and go for Caicedo. I don't appear so. It seems like we're getting over the line where Havertz is concerned. So that must have been one that Edu and Arteta were speaking on and remained hopeful of in hindsight. So I have to see. I feel like West Ham would be dumb enough to accept Lokonga as part of the deal. Listen, big up West Ham. But if they were willing to consider Tavares, Lokonga, Pepe, get it done really and truly. Lokonga being the next Yaya is like Mikel saying Eddie and Ketty is the next Ian Wright. Hey, man, Eddie didn't deserve that. And plus, to be fair, I don't think Arteta has already said that. Did you see the news that Arthur Melo was at London Coley last summer? We dodged a bullet. We did dodge a bullet, but, you know, we've heard him and Telemans were at London Coley in the last year. And who knows, in hindsight, what other players of all clubs have been at training grounds and seeing pitches and talking. You know, I'd love to know actually the signings that don't happen. You know, if Edu was to come out and say, I was actually in talks with this guy and that guy and all the others of all clubs, it'd probably be like, wow, what could be said there? Clubs tend to brief the media in order to drive up the price for the players and agents. Otherwise, in which world would Havertz go for 65 million? I mean, you pay the asking price, really. I can't lie. I'm not really a fan of the price tag for Havertz, but if he does his job, who cares, man? I think West Ham and City looks are created by West Ham to speed up the process and get 100 million, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up there at this point. Our negotiating team is a laughing stock. Bit harsh to describe them as a laughing stock. Shout out, S. Hope you're well, my bro. I hope you and everyone listening is good to hear the Timber news would be a good addition to our backline. He would, but these guys need to get over the lines. They have to get over the line. If it's not over the line, it's a myth. West Ham took Rice off the squad going to Australia for the friendly. Is it a done deal? Obviously, like Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice has been playing for England. Probably deserves a well-earned break, playing over 60 times in all comps. So, yeah, man, there's probably that in mind. But hopefully, this is the calm before the storm, really and truly. So we're just going to have to sit tight. I know it's frustrating, people, but we're probably just going to have to sit tight and enjoy this ride, people. Let me make a timestamp. Arsenal signing thoughts. Let's call it that. And with that being said, folks, let's actually look at what the papers are saying, because while I love to chat to you lot, I've got to remember I've got a job to do. So, again, keep your thoughts coming and flowing and all of those sort of things, people. And it'd be nice to still get Caicedo. Gavi would be lit. Grow up, mate. Kai Havertz completed. He moves to Arsenal tonight or tomorrow. I'll take your word for it, man. Until I see him holding a shirt, I don't know, man. But you must know more than all of us. Tell us the lottery numbers. Arsenal makes second transfer offer for West Ham midfielder Declan Rice. Allegedly, people, for what it is worth, David Ornstein has provided an update and said West Ham have turned down the second Arsenal bid for Declan Rice, worth up to 90 million, in brackets 75 million plus 15 million. So maybe that's 75 million up front plus 15 million in add-ons. Doesn't appear that West Ham are keen on that. But whatever, in it, as Arsenal continue the pursuit of the 24-year-old West Ham captain, Arsenal's talks with Chelsea for Havertz ongoing. The 24-year-old German international's preference is to join Arsenal, people. But at the same time, if Real Madrid have pulled out, if Bayern Munich haven't made a bid for Havertz, isn't Havertz's only offer Arsenal? So is it a case of signing a new deal at Chelsea or moving to Arsenal, in which, you know, you can leave Chelsea with your head held high? You won Champions League. I'm not too sure where we're at. But as I said, it looks like it's been rejected. But 2 hours ago, Ornstein made this article. So for what it's worth, keeping you lot up to date. Arsenal have made a club record offer for West Ham United midfielder Declan Rice. It's anticipated the proposal of 75 million plus 15 million in add-ons will be turned down by their Premier League rivals. But Arsenal are getting closer to the fee that West Ham are aiming to achieve if their captain is set to depart. The Athletic reported earlier this month that Arsenal had seen an opening bid for the England international not back. Rice is Arsenal's main target this summer, with the club prioritizing midfield reinforcements. Manchester City are also actively exploring an approach of their own for the 24-year-old people. He's made 245 appearances for West Ham since making his debut in 2017. On paper, he has a year left on his deal with the option of 1 year. So in theory, for West Ham fans, best case scenario is he could be tied down until 2025. So yeah, people, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to read all of this stuff. I'm pretty sure we all know who Declan Rice is, but that's that. West Ham have rejected Arsenal's second bid, says the Daily Mail. Again, skipping over Declan Rice, we will circle back, but apparently Arsenal make opening £30 million offer for Ajax defender Timber, which apparently, as expected, has been rejected. Arsenal are working on a deal to sign defender Timber from Ajax. The Premier League club have submitted a proposal worth around 30 million for the 22-year-old Netherlands international. Ajax are seeking in the region of 50 million for Timber, who has 2 years left on his contract at the Dutch club. There's optimism a compromise can be reached between the two clubs, while personal terms are believed to be in place. So personal terms are not an issue, but we've seen this many a time. You can agree personal terms as much as you want. Arteta can arouse the imagination of these players playing for Arsenal as much as he wants. You need to agree a fee with the current owners, or it's a myth. I appreciate that, S, man. You're a madman. One love, man. Was chatting with my West Ham pal yesterday. He reckons Rice is going for 120 million, not a penny less. I mean, it's great for West Ham. I rate West Ham, really, because we should be doing that. They should. I don't blame Brighton for trying to get as much for Caicedo, Declan Rice with West Ham, and any other player. All these Premier League clubs are flushed with money. If Brighton keep that up there, upward trajectory, the same thing that they're doing, trying to bid 30 million for Levi Colwill and then charging everyone an arm and a leg, it's going to flip and they're going to be charged. You know, all of these other clubs around any continent they buy players from, obviously the dynamics are different. They're going to accept money, but they might say, you know what, you're giving us 5 million for our unknown quantity. We see the profit you're making. Give me 10. So I have to see. Havertz has been at Chelsea side with 3 different managers in 3 years, and tactics, not an awful gamble, but I don't want that deal done before Rice. I mean, it seems like we're working on multiple layers, really. So Edu seems a busy man, really. So I have to see. Would rather go for Maddison instead of Havertz. I agree, but also disagree. I'm not against Havertz, if I'm honest with you. I'm against it for the price tag and all of that, but I don't control the piece, so it doesn't matter. And I mean, if you paid every price quoted by a team, it's not a good way to run a business. Let's see what Ryan Taylor of The Express has said. Arsenal turns screw in pursuit of Fantastic Four as 2 marquee signings edge closer. What a headline, isn't it? Arsenal have 4 statement acquisitions in their crosshairs as Mikel Arteta and Edu seek to make an explosive start to the summer transfer window. Pardon me. I agree Declan Rice is a statement one. Havertz is a German international relative household name. Would I say that's a statement signing? Not quite. Big fan of Timber. Would I say that's a statement signing? Not quite. Lavia like it. Would I say that's a statement signing? No. I think Declan Rice out of all of the... I'm happy to have all 4. Don't get twisted. But I'd say Declan Rice is the only statement signing. That's the one you're like, wow, okay, big money. Let's do this. Arsenal have upped the ante in the pursuit of Mikel Arteta's Fantastic Four. Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, Jeran Timber, and Romeo Lavia are, Romeo Lavia, apologies, as the Gunners seek to execute an explosive start to the summer transfer window in a clear statement of intent to Premier League champion City. Okay. Sporting director Edu is leading Arsenal's ambitious recruitment drive with the assistance of the director of football operations, Richard Garlick, and executive Tim Lewis, and the club's total outlay on new arrivals could yet exceed the 250 million mark come the end of the window. So something we were both looking at. Arsenal will strive to minimize their net spend with shrewd negotiating and player sales, but the wheels are now in motion in the hunt for Mikel Arteta's top 4 summer targets, which would undeniably see the Gunners upgrade their central midfield options, forward line, and defensive depth by impressive measure. I like the way you're writing this. A second bid for Rice has now landed as Arsenal seek to wrap up the signing of their top summer target as quickly as possible to avoid the risk of potential hijack with Man City thought to be lingering in the shadows. There is internal confidence that Rice wants to move, and sources have indicated that the North London club have now tabled a club record proposal of 90 million for the Hammers captain after seeing an open offer rebuffed by West Ham. That figure is included on add-ons, and as we know in hindsight, it's been turned down really. Yet huge progress has also been made where Kai Havertz is concerned. After failing with an opening proposal, Arsenal are now in negotiations to finalise the capture of the German international attacker with their London counterparts for a fee between 60 to 65 million. He's made it clear he wants to join the Gunners. The 23-year-old is viewed as a player that can play in multiple positions across Arteta's front line, while he's also previously starred as an attacking midfielder for Leverkusen, obviously prior to joining Chelsea. We tried and failed with an opening offer for Timber people. Apparently he was a former United target and still might be. That was thought to be around 30 million, but apparently talks are ongoing but remain positive between the two clubs. After months of deliberation, it appears the Gunners have now settled on their top defensive targets, having also monitored RB Leipzig's Mohamed Simikan, Gurhi of Crystal Palace, and Tapsoba of Leverkusen. Arteta wants to sign a tactically flexible hybrid defender who is capable of playing at centre-back and midfield and potentially in midfield. Fullback and potentially in midfield if required, which Timber probably could and Declan could as well. I don't think they will, though. The idea is that the club would virtually be signing 2 players for the price of 1. Yeah, but unless he can clone himself and there's due to injuries, we're in trouble. So it would be nice. Ajax are seeking closer to 50 million. So just drop the 45 million pound on them. Let's get that done. Arsenal also hold concrete interest in Southampton midfielder Lavia, and there's been progress on personal terms with the Belgium, who looks set to leave St Mary's this summer. That said, there is currently reluctance to meet the Saints' 45 million pound valuation of him following their relegation. It's thought that should Southampton indicate they're prepared to lower their asking price, other clubs including Chelsea and Liverpool will enter the fray. Both of those sides have already held dialogue with Lavia's agent over a possible deal, but they've communicated they're not prepared to pay 45 million at this moment in time. Southampton's valuation of Lavia has been clouded by the 50 million deadline day proposal that was presented to them via middlemen on behalf of Chelsea last September. So I have to see. There is a buyback clause valid next summer from Manchester City, and they probably have a sell-on clause. Granit Xhaka is still expected to go to Leverkusen. Apparently, Arsenal are actively entertaining approaches for Partey, who's been linked with clubs in Italy 1 week. This week is Saudi Arabia. It's understood Partey is a name currently under discussion in Saudi Arabia, which could be of huge benefit to Arsenal in their bid to overhaul Arteta's midfield. Balogun is also expected to leave the club on a permanent basis, people. He's already made clear he doesn't want to go on loan. Pepe has also been pushed towards the exit. Austin Trusty could bust out. Lokonga could bust out. Brooke Norton-Coffey probably not going to make the grade, unfortunately, at Arsenal. Bust out. Simple business. Once again, people, the opening offer has been rejected for Timber. We're gonna have to get closer to 50 million. But again, apparently there is confidence a deal can be reached between both clubs. He's been a target of Man United, and Liverpool have also been credited with an interest, people. Arsenal have a budget of around 180 million, this article says, this summer, and already working on deals once again for Declan Rice and Kai Havertz. We're also considering Lavia, and obviously Partey and Xhaka could keep it moving. So we keep hearing the same things, more or less, people. This article out of Timber's homeland has been speaking as well, people. A switch to Arsenal, which seemed to be on its way to the English title for a long time last season and wants to take the last step this year, is also good news for Ronald Koeman. Timber is more or less a fixed value under Louis van Gaal, but hardly appears in Koeman's plans. In the Premier League, he could still enforce his basic plans in the Dutch national team. So that just means you're more likely to play over them sides, people. According to sources around Ajax, the player himself has already an indication of what he can earn at Arsenal, and there's an agreement on a multi-year contract, but it's up to the club. So personal terms are not an issue. Need to get a fee agreed, people. Obviously, Ten Hag. I'm waiting on Ten Hag and United to get involved in that pursuit. Arsenal pushing to seal Kai Havertz and Declan Rice transfer as Chelsea deadline nears. And what they probably mean by that is Chelsea have a couple of days left to kind of, include any potential outgoings in the full year accounts for this season, which helps them with FFP. Chelsea wants 70 million, but Arsenal are hoping to strike a deal for a lower fee. Once again, there's optimism it could be done. Once again, Chelsea need to sell players to help balance the books and reduce the size of their squad. When you see what's going on with their dodgy dealings in Saudi Arabia and Todd Burhey flexing his money when he bought the club, big fan of them acting like they're in financial constraints, people, but there's no getting around it. Again, we're preparing a record-breaking bid for Declan Rice. The offer's been rejected, so we're going to need to up the ante. We've made a new offer of 60 million for Kai Havertz, and we've prepared an offer of around £210,000 a week to try wrap that up. And obviously, indirectly, or better yet, directly, that helps Chelsea because they're still in the pursuit of Caicedo, who could cost 100 million quid, people. Discussions apparently over the weekend accelerated for Kai Havertz, and Arsenal want to wrap up a deal quickly and already have a broad agreement in place. Allegedly, smash the like button if you haven't done such. Bring that hot news now. We see now to see the players holding the shirt. Amen. He played in multiple positions at Chelsea and still flopped. I mean, jack of all trades, master of none. The concerns with Havertz, for me, the obvious. If it doesn't work, we're in trouble. He can play everywhere, but what is he a master of? Obviously the money in it, like people aren't going to give the guy a chance really. For the money you're going to get paid and the fee and the expectation, you need to hit the ground running. And at this moment in time, I think it's more of a thing where as the season goes on, you have to see what Arteta's planning, because right now, as I said earlier, you can't see how he improves the starting 11 or takes someone's spot, but he is versatile. Chelsea are a bit, you have to give him a bit of tax because everybody flopped at Chelsea. We're doing better. So maybe there's a bit of a tax there. He's a very good technical player. So I do think we'll benefit from that indirectly with Jesus' ability to play out wide, retaining Reece Nelson, obviously Havertz. That might mean we're not going to get a Moussa Diaby or something because Havertz can play out there. And ballers can play with ballers, really and truly. And maybe he's got that positive chip on his shoulder as to people saying he's a flop and all these things. I am a bit wary because it seems like you play everywhere, but what are you? But I mean, he's got relative experience. He's 24. He's got a wealth of experience. Come and show us this stuff. Chelsea are laughing, really, if they get 70 to 75 million quid. And this is the one signing that has to work. If you sign Declan Rice for the money, of course it has to work. But this has to work. Kai Havertz has to work. It has to. I think Timber signing could allow Tini to stay and be used next season, as Timber could be an inverted right back. Would you rather Lavia for 40 or Caicedo for 80? Big up Lavia, but I really like Caicedo as a footballer, man. Chelsea are trying to balance their books, but to turn around and give Brighton 100 million for Caicedo, they're just kicking the can down the road. Fair enough, but where is he playing in this Arsenal squad? Where would you play him? Right now, you're probably a false 9, maybe back up for Bukayo Saka. You do play in the 10, but unless Odegaard's going to play in the 8, I'm not for that. I think he's got the capacity to play as 8, but I can't rise up a real big case study of that. So I hope Arteta's got a plan in it, because to me as an ignorant fan, I can't see it right now. You could see how Lavia can tie into what we're doing. You can see how Declan Rice can tie into what we're doing. You can see immediately how Timber ties into what we're doing. But Havertz is just a decent player, good player. Like, there needs to be a plan, and I hope Arteta is doing his thing. Damari Gray playing for Jamaica, instantly the best in the league. Just like Bobby Reed, just like Mikel Antonio, just like Ethan Pinnock and the rest of them. So yeah, man, lovely opinion. Slap the likes, is free and supports the guy. You're too kind, American Gooner. DG, do you think the reason why Arsenal are slow in bidding a lot for Declan is that he wants to come to the club and doesn't want any other. West Ham thought there'd be a bidding war. It's patience, man. We're clearly working on multiple fronts. The market is just open, and we don't know the added sort of factors at play, really, if I'm honest with you. You know, I'm sure Declan Rice, Arsenal, or West Ham don't want this to drag on into the transfer market because no one can really move forward. But at the same time, the longer West Ham reject bids and kind of sit on their hands, the more you're enticing other clubs to make moves. I do think City are interested in him. I do think they'll make a move for him. But having just signed Kovacic, having maybe addressing other areas, how much do they really want Declan Rice? Because at this moment in time, we're the only ones that have placed an offer, really. We're Chelsea are the only ones that have placed an offer for Caicedo on paper, us in January. No, we're in talks with Lavia, but no one's risen up an offer. If there's no offer on the table, it's just bare talking. It's the calm before the storm. For what it's worth, people, Caicedo will cost at least 100 million and Chelsea need to sell before comfortable committing that level of money. Arsenal believe that Havertz's versatility makes him a must-win target for the club, according to reports. And obviously, Romano has said Arsenal's second bid for Rice will be submitted in the next few hours. It was never sent last week as Arsenal remain calm, feeling that players wants to move. Second proposal will be around 90 million, not linked to the Lavia deal, no bid yet in that case. And I mean, even Romano, everyone, the second bid was placed last week. Now we're hearing it's not. So again, what's actually happening in the world of football and what we're talking about with the tabloids are two very different things. Son has confirmed he wants to stay at Spurs, so you don't want to win trophies or do nothing, 30. I'm just seeing if Romano's got anything. Right, you're going Saudi Arabia. The younger players are going Saudi already. Apparently, you know, West Ham are expected once again to reject the second proposal for Rice, which stands at 75 million plus 15 million add-ons. West Ham believe the 15 million add-ons are also difficult to achieve, which is true, really. It's like Football Manager, really. If you're telling, you know, if you're saying 50 goals and all these things, it's a myth. Them add-ons are probably if Arsenal win the league, win the Champions League, Declan Rice makes X amount of appearances, personal accolades, all of these things. Hammers still expect City to enter the race this week. Arsenal remain confident. So we'll have to see really and truly exactly what happens, people. I hope we get over the line, but who knows? Okay, we've already gone over that. I mean, as you can see, the same old is being echoed by every journalist and their nan. Nicholas Moller, people, Nicol Jaya, forgive me, of Arsenal's under-21s has joined Swiss side FC St. Gallen on a permanent transfer. You'd imagine there'll be a couple of departures at under-23s level, and every little helps. Probably only got a couple thousand for him if he didn't join on a free, but, you know, you're going to bring us a couple thousand, you know, Charlie Patino, that's a couple of million there. Every little helps, people, as we look to probably clear ranks. Fabrizio Romano on Timber said Arsenal want Timber as concrete target, as Ornstein reported. He's top of the list that also includes Simican. Ajax will not accept 30 million for Timber as they want bigger fee. Talks will continue as the player is keen on the move. Arsenal have a concrete interest in signing Timber from Ajax. This is a concrete possibility and is top of the list. Arsenal are optimistic because the player has just 2 years left on his contract, and that actually just hit me. That is, apart from Lavia, that's a theme. He's got 2 years. Declan Rice has 2 years if the option of his contract is invoked. Kai Havertz has 2 years. Maybe this is something we've been targeting. I don't know, people. He has 2 years left on his contract and will not extend with Ajax. He has been very clear on that. At least as of now, this is the idea of the player. His priority would be to leave, also because he wants Ajax to get great money and to try a new experience in the Premier League. Timber is tempted by Arsenal's project. Arsenal are looking for that kind of player who can play as a centre-back, right-back, sometimes if needed, also as a defensive midfielder. So kind of like Zinchenko-type player, but on the right. This is the idea of Arsenal to attack the situation again. 30 million would not be enough to convince Ajax, so the negotiations have to continue. But Timber is a concrete target for Arsenal, and Edu Gaspar, approved by Mikel Arteta. That was Fabrizio Romano via, pardon me, his YouTube channel. Smash the like button on that. Subscribe if you haven't, people. So yeah, Arsenal are interested in Lavia but have not yet bidded, and that is not tied to the outcome of their pursuit of Declan Rice. They are in talks with Southampton and the 19-year-olds reps, people. Let's see exactly what's there. Again, we're going to keep seeing the same things. I'm going to skip over the Declan Rice stuff, people. Better yet, part of Arsenal's approach is down to being told initially that 80 million would be enough to get Rice. So are Arsenal wrong then? If you're telling us one thing, I mean, unless it's legally blinding, anything can happen. But if you're telling us 80 is enough, Arsenal are bidding such, can you really, as much as it's frustrating, can you really begrudge Arsenal then? You know, and I can't begrudge West Ham because it's business. You know, everyone's trying to get money. If I'm West Ham, Edu might call me in January and I say, yeah, 80 million in the summer, bro. He calls me, bro, I never told you. I never told you it was 80 million. He could screenshot my conversation with, I never told you it's 80 million. It's not legally blinding. The price has gone up, pay up or shut up, brother. Simple as that. So I can't begrudge him. This is the market. And that might be us one day with certain players. You know, in a way, that could be us with Balogun. Different dynamics. Arsenal are also interested in Southampton's midfielder Lavia, but I've not yet bidded, blah, blah, blah. We're in talks with Southampton and the rep, so hopefully there's positive feedback there. Again, we're in the race for Timber. Sky Germany have reported. I don't know if that means Bayern Munich or someone's interested. Again, this was the first article I saw, better yet, Romano say that we're advancing in talks to sign Lavia. Negotiations once again are ongoing. Southampton hope for their record fee for a under 21 player. I wonder what that means. Man United are interested, but the priority is Mount. Chelsea are keeping a close eye. You got to remember, Joe Shields is the one that brought, Lavia from Man City to Southampton, and I'm sure he would, love to bring him over there to City, and I'm sure Chelsea to the city in London, and I'm sure Chelsea fans would as well. Again, a journalist out of Belgium has said we're close to agreeing personal terms with Lavia. We now run the race due to his agent's relationship with Arsenal, as explained days ago. Who wants to anticipated concurrence? I think this just means we're anticipating Chelsea to get involved. And again, if you're Southampton, if you're West Ham, if you're Brighton, you're not in a rush to sell these players, really. Apparently, we're not going to get Cancelo, but Barcelona remain the most interested club in João Cancelo, but the signing depends on FFP. So while Timber's not over the line, we were linked with Fresnadar, Timothy Cassandre, João Cancelo, and now Timber in terms of players that can play other roles, but also players are right back. There's probably a next name as well. Gabby Vega, who he is linked with, not really going to look like we're going for him. Apparently, Liverpool are still well informed, and Chelsea have called to be informed on the conditions of a deal as well. So a former Arsenal target could head elsewhere. He is ready for the next step, and apparently he'll leave Celta Vigo. I think he's a lovely player, really. Release clause of 40 million euros. Maybe Arsenal have other things. One key point on the Lavia in case, Romano has said, in case he joins a new club this summer, Man City's 40 million buyback clause would no longer be valid in 2024. City would lose control on the player, only valid until he's at Southampton. Okay. City have a percentage of a sell-on clause for the future, which you'd imagine that to be the case, really and truly. So as you can see, the same things are being said. People were moving closer to getting Shai Havertz at the club. Is there anything new here? So it looks like the DECLAN Rice second bid offer probably was rejected days ago in hindsight, people. Once again, Partey could be going Saudi Arabia. 45 million seems a lot of money for Lavia because he, as great as I think he is in the future, I think he has only got one Premier League season under his belt. Big up Bukayo Saka for funding accommodation for Turkish families, obviously that were done dirty by the earthquake. Lovely guy, man. Arsenal second bid. Sorry, should we see this? Let's actually see this because this could be a little update. We know we've submitted an updated bid. Overall, the package is a similar amount. Sources suggest more of the initial 75 million payment would be paid up front, while the proposed 15 million in add-ons are viewed as more attainable than previously indicated. It remains to be seen if West Ham accept Arsenal's bid or continue to hold out, which we know they have. Given they value Rice in excessive of 100 million, the expectation is be rejected. So at some point, we have to move away. City hold an interest in him, but it looks like there's formalizing Kovacic to their club, people. And David Sullivan did say in the aftermath of the Conference League win by West Ham, he has his heart set on going where Declan Rice is concerned, people. So everybody just being creative with more or less just saying the same things, people. Timber, the Telegraph is saying Timber has been top of Arsenal's list of defensive targets for weeks. So why is everyone that now every journalist is saying it's been there for weeks? And this just shows we don't know for all these clubs what exactly is been happening, because until yesterday, nobody was rising up Timber's name until David Ornstein said such. Arteta is looking to recruit a player who can provide quality competition as a right back and central defender. Once again, he's valued at 50 million. There's hope that we can drive a lower price for the player. So maybe you have to be patient. Where's Zubimendi? As a fan of Zubimendi, I'm always going to keep one eye on him. Xavi is pushing for the signing of Zubimendi, but Deco, who's now a sporting sort of guy at Barcelona, has doubts about the player's inexperienced price and adaptation to Barcelona. So if he can't adapt to the league he's playing, then what does that mean? I'm not too sure. Newcastle are still keen on Tierney, allegedly, people, but they've now moved towards Robertson. They've been linked with Cucurella and Fulham's Robertson, people. Where's the Tierney bit? Tierney. All I want to see is Tierney. Tierney remains a key target too, despite Arsenal driving a hard bargain for the Scottish international. The Gunners need first-team players off the book. I mean, letting Xhaka, Partey and Tierney go would be a bit silly in my opinion, but fair enough. We need to get players off the books as we plan a summer revamp. Tierney would command a fee of around 30 million plus, but would add vital experience and ability to Newcastle's current crop. But if we tried to buy Tierney off you, you'd be charging us an arm and a leg. So I don't know what all that's about. I mean, I think we've seen this already, folks. Again, Muller has left the club. Let's see what goal.com is saying, people. It's nice to have Timber's name because, it's nice to see another player linked with Arsenal, really. Second bid's been rejected for Declan Rice. We're advancing in talks for Lavia. We're moving closer to Kai Havertz. We've just mentioned Timber. Balogun has said, play me or let me go on or let me leave. He doesn't want to go on loan. Alexis Sanchez tried to return to North London. You could never have called Arteta's phone and been serious with that. Kassange, fair enough, put that to bed. Balogun is wanted by Inter Milan, so Saliba signed a new deal. So it's more or less just the same things, really and truly. We've called our interest on Caicedo. We have been linked with Paris Saint-Germain. Well, us and Paris Saint-Germain have been linked with going after Elise of Crystal Palace, which, depending on the fee, would be lit. But again, the dream is free. The hustle is sold separately until these players are holding shirts and scarves and that and taking pictures with Edu, Arteta, Richard Garlick, Kroenke, and the rest of them. Anything can happen, really and truly. So it is what it is. With Havertz, no attacking player has thrived at Chelsea since Costa. Arteta will work something with him. I hope so. I need to. Listen, we can't be saying the same things about Havertz, that is said currently, or he hasn't improved. If City get Rice, probably another treble one if they keep most of the current squad. Another day, another Arsenal bid rejected. Second one now for Rice. Why do we offer drips and drabs for the man? At least chucking someone close to the deal. To be fair, is that dribs and drabs? If them articles are true and they've said 80 million and we've bidded more than that, I'm in both worlds. I agree with the frustration. I agree with us. We seem that we got a theme of bidding and not getting things done. But I don't want Arsenal to get taken for mugs, rightly or wrongly. I like the fact that we're prepared to walk away from signings. Now, my only problem is if you don't get Declan Rice, it's another key target that hasn't been obtained. But my only thing is, come September, you can be linked with Lavia, Caicedo, Declan Rice, this kid, Zubamendi, this guy, that guy. If areas are not addressed, I don't want to hear we tried. So we have to see, man. Just have a nasty feeling City might come in for Rice once they sort out Silva and Gunder's situation. It could happen. This is why I feel West Ham are stalling. We need to submit a proper bid now. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne and Salah turned out very okay, really. So let's hope so, man. But I'd be wary of including him. Brother, I need to see Rice come to Arsenal because our top targets, we've not got them. Mudryk kind of feels a blessing in disguise. I still rate Mudryk. I think you'll see a decent player in him. I hope not. You signed for them, man. So wishing you all the worst, really. Respectfully, in a footballing sense. So it's debatable, man. We'll have to see exactly what happens, man. One love to everyone who smashed the like button. What else are you lot saying? I don't want to miss out anything. A midfield of Odegaard and Kai is too meek, techie nonetheless. And that's why I don't want to let Partey go. We're losing physicality and Rice can't do it alone because as great as Rice is, it will just be like having Partey again, where Partey is the only sort of tug in the midfield. We need a couple options, really. I do think next summer, or between next January and next summer, we'll sign another centre mid because Jorginho, El Nene, Xhaka and Partey on paper, they're all on the wrong side of their ages now. Be nice if we could throw a Gundogan in there, but we'll have to see, man. Not really feeling this shy Havertz thing. It's going to be the downfall of our Virgin manager. Chill. Give the man a chance. By all means, have your opinion, but give the man a chance. He won't be the first or the last player that signed for this football club, and there's been question marks. I learned to give people a chance from Danny Welbeck, to be honest. I don't think he was amazing, but twice the player I thought he was, and a very good team player. And there was even times last season thinking, we could have done with Welbs. I was on the verge of tears when Danny Welbeck signed for this club. A bit like Kai Havertz in that Welbs, for all the titles he won at United, he was an easy target. I've never, God forgive me, but I was genuinely praying and watching him on Sky Sports or the medical on Sky Sports, praying to God that it didn't happen. I'm pretty sure when he signed for us, it was the international break and they wheeled out wheelchair and things. So all I'm saying is have your opinion, give the man a chance. But what I would say, make sure it works. Make sure it works, Arteta. You better have a plan. And Arteta can't save everyone. We're not getting back up for Saka, Nelson, and if we get Kai, would be back up. I hear that. I'm listening to DJ and Curtis. Everyone else is a yawn or Arsenal PR merchants. Bit harsh, man. Bit harsh. There's plenty of people out there, but one love for that, my dude. I appreciate that. If we want to compete at elite level, we got to have competition in every position. Amen. Big up my guy, Kevin. Do you think the way how Arsenal approached the transfer market when buying players, lowballing clubs, what does that say about our club who claim to be a big boy club? I do think Arsenal have legitimate question marks, but I also think it's ridiculous, Technically, Chelsea, the offer they offered for Caicedo 2 weeks ago is less than what Arsenal were prepared to pay in January. So it seems like we're the only club that people say these things, really and truly. You know, you've heard Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, and Arsenal are all walking away from certain things because there's too much money. Spurs, cheeky buggers, really, tried to bid 50 million for Harvey Barnes, apologies, and Maddison. So I do agree, it does frustrate me. I would like a world where, you know, we wake up and it seems like we're making progress with Timber, a bit like the Fabio Vieira and the Kirill transfers took us a bit by surprise. It seems like Arsenal's transfer business to us fans appears like a Netflix series. Every day the same journalists are remixing the same things. It would be nice to move a bit quicker, but the market's just about open and it seems like we're on the case. Again, you need to get the players and not just try, but it's nice really because the quicker we get them in, the quicker they can go and learn under Arteta during pre-season and we keep it moving really. DG, how do you think about Havertz signing out of the players we're heavily linked with? He's the one who I don't feel confident about. I share that. I think I'm a bit more optimistic than a lot of people, but Declan Rice, I can see what you bring to the club. Same with if we would have got Caicedo. If this Timber thing happens, I'm here for it. I think Lavia, probably not going to hit the ground running straight away, but you could grow into something special and you will be a lot better than the last Belgium lad we signed in midfield. Havertz, it just has to work because I can't see where you start immediately. Obviously, you add to the squad and experience and maybe Arteta can get a trick out of him and all of these things, but yeah, I share that. I can't lie to you, really and truly. He is a ball carrier. Where's that comment? He is a very good ball carrier. So it'd be nice, man. And again, I would like to see Arteta rotate a bit more when we need to rotate. I don't think you really need to do that much in the first half of the season. But yeah, Timber is very quick too. Good athleticism, great option, especially for the 3-2-2. Can't barely see that. 3-2-2. Wait. I don't know why I can't see. I need glasses. 3-2-2-3 system. I see it now. I think we should get money for Balogun now. He's a attacker, striker for me. Quality, but not suited to our system. What I would say is Arsenal can't win because if Balogun stays at the football club and he gets opportunities and doesn't do a madness, the same people that are overdoing it with him are going to say, why don't we let him go? And vice versa. So if Balogun really wants to leave and he's not really feeling what Arsenal are telling him, then keep it moving. The chat about Zaha has gone quiet. Anyone know where he's going? Could even stay at Palace, man. Appreciate that, Top Blue. We got this banter from back when we bidded £1 over the alleged Suarez release clause. So now we just take every L on every bid. We need an overlapping right back, please. It'd be good. Top Blue, hope you're doing well and safe. DG, big up, DG. Appreciate you, my guy. Apart from Havertz, Rice, Lavia, and Timber would be very good signings. I hear that. Arteta and Edu signings have been more hit and miss, so I'm good with it. To be fair, I think their hit to miss ratio has been a lot better in recent years. I think they've got to hold the blame for giving Aubameyang a new deal and then tearing it up. They've got to hold the L for Willian. They've got to hold the L for Cedric, Pablo, Marie, and Willian. But then, you know, big call to bring in Odegaard. Fans weren't really happy with Odegaard's loan spell. Big call to bring in Benjamin White, 50 million off the back of one Premier League season. Ramsdale, for all his criticisms and areas of improvements, done all right, really and truly. You know, I'm not really that convinced on Jorginho, but he's worked out a better side and I think he's got quality. So I think Arteta and Edu, specifically Arteta, he's shown he will make difficult decisions in terms of players playing week in, week out and players coming into the club. But no one's, you know, perfect. It will go wrong at times. Let's just hope that one works out because you can already imagine the headlines. Hella funny, man. If you don't laugh, you might cry. And keep both Xhaka and Partey. I'd love to, but you'd imagine one of the two. I wonder if Xhaka could be convinced to stay, Partey goes to the Middle East. I think it would be stupid to let both of them go in it. I think we need to keep experience around with the Champions League. By all means, in an ideal world, you get Rice and Lavia. You keep both of them. As the season progresses, obviously, we start to pull back our reliance on them and naturally they get demoted to more squad options. But I think we need to be a bit cute and clever, really. I think we need to make radical changes, but I don't think we need radical wholesale changes, if that makes sense, folks. Keep running up the like button and thank you very much in hindsight, man. So that's what I think, man. And to be fair with you, would it be 4 signings and done? The quicker we get them in, the quicker we might even be able to move for other players or maybe, just maybe, get some players gone. Big up Damari Gray for picking Jamaica, but I can't lie, that David Ornstein, I thought this was going to be an update about Arsenal, man. We only want to see this Arsenal stuff. Oh, man. I mean, Ben Jacobs is talking about Arteta and PSG. I'm going to read that, man. Channel bullshit. But, yeah. So, yeah, Lavia, Havertz, Rice, Timber. They're the only ones really linked with Arsenal. Hi, DG. Shout out, Simon. I don't feel Havertz, Saka backup surely required. I would like another winger, but how far does it all stretch? Especially when you look at, a theme of when we're bidding for players. Definitely where Havertz and Rice are concerned. These clubs want more fees up front. Obviously, if it's more add-ons and stuff, then you probably got a bit more pennies to stretch and maybe bring in others. I think a lot of our early misses were down to Raul Sanye. No surprise, our hit rate has massively improved since he got booted. I hear that. What's happening, Team Harrison? Appreciate the Twitch gang. So yeah, we'll have to see, really. But what I do like is, Arteta and Edu have made unpopular decisions, and 9 times out of 10 they've worked out. Let's hope with Havertz that works out, people, really and truly. Dharma Sheffer said negotiations over Declan Rice continue after a bid worth 90 million rejected. Told Arsenal have shown they are serious about the club record bid and remain hopeful of a positive resolution. I like the fact that we're hopeful of that, but until the man signed, it's all air, really and truly. If I'm completely honest with you, lot, it's all air. Like, the man has to sign, or it's a myth. Apparently, West Ham. Sorry, people. In fact, why is the screen not sharing? That's a bit annoying. But yeah, let's go over to this. West Ham don't believe Arsenal's £90 million offer with 75 million guaranteed is enough for Declan Rice and plan to reject it. The anticipated bid if add-ons don't hit their 100 million plus valuation. So we'll have to see, really and truly. Rice heads off on holiday this week after he played 61 games this season, people. He's expecting to be an Arsenal player by the end of the month. Personal terms well in excess of 200 grand per week will be formally agreed very quickly once West Ham and Arsenal reach a middle ground. West Ham want to trigger an auction for Rice as they seek to recoup over 100 million for their captain, but Rice wants to join Arsenal. Have already verbally indicated their intention to make a second bid. I hear it, but a bit like Mudryk, who wanted to join us. If Arsenal walk away from the negotiating table, boy, you'd be stupid anyways not to consider City, in my opinion. But you have to keep it moving, really. Or maybe do us a favor, sit at West Ham for another year, win them the Europa League and cut back. So we'll have to see, really. We've already gone over that. And yeah, apparently we're set to increase the bid, people. So we'll have to monitor these things closely. But as I always say, the dream is free and that hustle is sold separately, folks. So let's hope Edu and his team have something for us in mind, people, because if not, it's a mad thing for us, isn't it, really? So we'll have to see. Let's make another timestamp there. Put that 111. So yeah, we'll have to see, man. Appreciative to you lot. I mean, it's transfer window business. One, love for the super chat. You man are getting bumped on the rise, still 100 million. Love for the super chat. Boy, it's a zang, but everyone's getting zanged, in it. It is what it is. 80 million for Maguire, 72 odd on Pepe, mad money on Anthony, Spurs with Ndombele. I'm sure City, even though Haaland's great, wouldn't have wanted to pay that fee, even though that's a steal and a deal. The same goes for Grealish. Everyone knows people got money. You want these Premier League targets, pay the money or keep it moving. You either find alternatives from around the world, you either find these players before they have that one standout season or whatever, or you sit and cry. Well, of course, we're overpaying. But I hope it's a bit like Van Dijk or Alisson in that when Liverpool signed them, everyone had their comments to make about these players, but they did their job. The price tag only matters if the players are not playing well. We should be worried about City, but if they come in, they come in, innit? If they don't, crazy. Havertz gives me Ozil vibes on work rate. I mean, Ozil's always been misunderstood, played within himself, but the somewhat rhetoric that he didn't run around and stuff is very much an English thing. Only in England is running around for the sake of running around in isolation praised. Yeah, 50 million. We did overpay for Benjamin White. 50 million off the back of one Premier League season, but it worked out. Rice is worth 60 million max. Well, not to West Ham and not to Arsenal, really. I don't think it's anything isolated to Harry Maguire, to Declan Rice, to any of these guys. This is just the market. Potential is the biggest buzzword. And as great as Declan Rice is and as established as he is, he's 24. That you put potential next to a man's name, it's lit. Lavia, been at Southampton for 2 minutes. Some Capri Suns last longer than his time there. Big money now, really and truly. Fresneda, if Valladolid didn't get relegated, they probably would have got more than the 20 million that's quoted. He probably is going to go to Dortmund now. This is the market now, rightly or wrongly. So it's either we adapt, spend correctly, and live happily ever after, or we keep crying. I don't want to keep crying. Don't forget to smash the like button if you haven't done such already. Appreciative to all of you lot tuned in. Brother, I need to see Rice come. Oh, I've already seen this. I mean, Mohamed Salah and Kevin De Bruyne, Salah went to Fiorentina and solidified himself to a relative standard. Kevin De Bruyne was doing this thing in the Bundesliga. Havertz is not really the same, but hopefully he turns out like one of them, man. It's like with Martial as well, bro. Martial don't smile, he don't care anymore and things. Arsenal shouldn't go beyond 100 million, including add-ons. I think if we make these 4 signings, we'll be ready to compete for any title next season. There's a lot that we're going to need to work on the training field. Signing is half the job. Let's steady. It'd be nice, man. But, you know, Chelsea tried to get Ugarte. PSG came in and blew them out the water. Had Chelsea have got Ugarte, they probably would have got Caicedo as well, but they might have left him alone, gone after Lavia. Caicedo could have been available. So it seems like there's a knock-on effect for half of these players. It's like, obviously, no 2 signings are interconnected, but it seems like from the stuff we read, it's almost like every club is waiting for a domino effect, really. And to be brutally honest, you know, Jude Bellingham's clearly, you know, Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham, very good players, but Jude Bellingham is the piano player. Declan Rice is the piano pusher. I can't begrudge West Ham if they sit there and go, yo, raw boy, Jude Bellingham went for big boy P's. Chelsea bought Enzo Fernandez for big boy P's. We got an England international here, 24 years of age, European winner. Boy, we're going to need some of that. And we should be doing the same. Obviously, God forbid, but with Saka, Martinelli, Saliba, signing new deals. If they ever say they want to leave and a club wants to come in, bro, we need to get something unrealistic as well. I mean, there's been plenty of average footballers that have done well. With Rice, obviously, my bias is I don't really think he's worth that money in it. In today's day and age, if this is it, go and get it done because it's not my bread. I think Declan Rice is a great player that will give us a lot. But for me, I'd rather pay that sort of them kind of fees or mad money for match winners. You know, in many ways, Declan is a match winner, but goal scorers, players that, you know, get bums off seats. You get where I'm going. That's not really Declan Rice, but this is the market now, unfortunately. You know, as long as Declan Rice is competent in his role, consistent in his role, and has confidence in his role, and just does his job, I don't really give a crap, really. The training's important. There's many things we need to work on the training ground. So we'll have to see, man. It's not really a good comparison, but nonetheless, it is what it is. Our saving grace right now is activity. Chelsea waiting for sales for FFP. United in limbo with the takeover. Liverpool have no cash, really. That's why we're lowballing, I think. Kimmich would be amazing, but a myth. Osimhen would be lit, but I can't see that happening. You know, you've got Kai Havertz now on paper, if he does arrive. Martinelli, Trossard, Jesus on paper. Asterisk next to Ballingham's name and Eddie Nketiah's name. I would have loved an out-and-out striker. That's a bit different to what we have, but with Havertz coming in, I can't see that now, but we have hope in it. We have hope because now we've got 80 odd goals in the Prem. You want to get to closer to 100 and that. And I don't know if Havertz on paper brings us closer to that, but hopefully Arteta is a man with a plan, people. Hopefully. Because if the Havertz one don't work out, obviously no one's going to die. God forbid. It is what it is. But yeah, it's not going to look good. And we ain't got time to waste. You know, there's expectation on Arsenal to get top 4 as a minimum next year and maybe try and challenge City again. I don't think we're going to win the Champions League. I'd love to, you know. I hope the footballing gods, you know, could bless us in the way they did in 2006. But as a minimum, getting out the group, giving a good account of yourself and going as far as you can. Does Havertz make us stronger with this? It's difficult to say that about someone that scored a Champions League winning goal, let alone won it. But does it? Really? I don't know. And for me, with the attacking, I know Havertz can play a bunch of roles, but if we focus on the fact that he can play in the front 4 positions, the 10, the left, the right, and up front, Arteta is going to have to show me something because on paper, I don't see how he makes us better, is all I'm saying. But I'm prepared to shut my mouth and wait. I do like the squad factor behind his signing, but I'd be lying to you lot if I said this was someone I expected to be linked with, let alone potentially see my club sign in the summer market. But that's what happens, man. There's going to be plenty of twists, turns, bumps and bruises, man. But you're right, you know, hopefully we can get them signings in because obviously Jesus and Zinchenko played in the Premier League, but I think a big reason as to why they hit the ground running is because we signed them early. They're in part of pre-season, and I think Fabio Vieira even benefited with that probably off the field. And I'm sure these players, every player, ideally, unless you're waiting for offers from bigger clubs or other clubs and a club's offering for you that you're not really keen on, I'm sure you want your future decided way sooner. I don't know if Declan Rice will move house and that because I can't imagine that you can't commute from wherever you probably live in East London or some nice place in Essex to London Coley. But, you know, he's got to put his young one in nursery. His wife might have to get a new job or do something. He might have to rent or buy a new house and do other things, put other documents in his name and things like that, and just sort out his future, really. So we'll have to see, man. There's going to be many twists and turns for our club and every other club that's obviously involved or trying to be active in the transfer market, really and truly, man. But with it being an hour and 20 minutes, people, I don't want to waste you lot's time anymore. Appreciative of you lot tuned in. One love for the super chat, Zol Eng TV, forgive me for mispronunciation. One love for those of you on Twitch and YouTube. I appreciate your talking points, questions, alternative points of view, etc. Obviously, some clips of this live stream will be cut up for you lot. Check out the other videos I've done and stay blessed, stay safe, have a great week. If there's any other significant news, I'll go live. At the same time, you know, videos will always be out there. You lot stay blessed, stay safe. Subscribe if you haven't. Smash the like button if you haven't. Make sure you're following on Kick, on Twitch, and on YouTube. Deluded Q, on all of that. One love.
There's always just that active red flag defenders, I think, it's like. There's always just that active red flag defenders, I think, it's like. There's always just that active red flag defenders, I think, it's like.